We're live. Wow.
Hello, everyone. Amazing.
People joining.
Great to see you all.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Great.
Trinity, nice like the all caps name. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Very
yeah.
good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So as you guys are joining in, hi there. This is Dr. Paul, and I am joined yet again by eminent therapist Jeremy Fox, expert on trauma, dating, social media, tech, males, various topics. But we have really enjoyed television series lately and movies, reviewing them because, hey, there's psychology throughout the best of the best. And one popped up for me during the holiday weekend here, and it's called Ripple on Netflix. And some of you know I've worked recently with Dr. Joshua Coleman, who is an expert on estrangement within families, among parents and children, parents and adult children, especially. Um, and I just love that guy, and just latched on to this TV show that has estrangement and various other topics all built into it. And I was just previewing this with Jeremy. Jeremy's new to the television series, so he's seen the first episode. And I kind of like prepped him on, what the topics are, but there's divorce, cancer, the topic of death is involved with almost every character in this TV series Ripple. And
Yeah.
the last of which is Aria, who is a wannabe singer and got into Juilliard and at the urging of her mother. So there's both estrangement and a death topic involved with her.
Yes.
Aria is let's see, who is she played by? I should say who this is. She's the aspiring musician, and there we go.
Oh yeah, actress in Ripples, played by Sydney Agudong. Agudong.
Yes, correct.
She was in
and she's a wonderful character because she's the funny thing about all these characters in this TV series that is quite bingeable. I binged it in like two like 6-hour sessions. Is that they are every man.
I think that's an overdose. I think you have to call that an overdose at that point, not just a binge.
Well, then why would I put it on the podcast? Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't that good.
Yeah, I agree. No, you're fine. Yeah.
And I'll even admit I shed quite a few tears. I will say that almost every episode. And and I'm not afraid to say so. And it's that good. And part of the reason is it's every man and every woman in all these characters. You can see a bit of yourself in every single one of them. And so starting with Aria, the last of the list of four, she's a wannabe musician. She appears to be, I'm not sure exactly what her husband does. He's kind of a ne'er-do-well, not a ne'er-do-well.
He's like a wealth management guy. Does he do investments?
He's a finance guy. You're not quite sure what he does, but he kind of has a wandering eye for other women. And she's at home. She gets depressed easily at home because she's not doing her dream of singing.
Yeah, right.
And she has an estrangement thing with her mom, who insisted she be a pianist. So her mom like pulled all these strings to get her into Juilliard, and she is that talented. But her mom insisted that she become a pianist, not a singer, and she wanted to be a singer all along.
Yeah.
So that's So that's Aria. But back to death. Like, why would death apply to her? She's in her probably late 20s, as is her finance kind of cheating, betraying husband. Sorry to ruin it if I did. That doesn't really ruin it. You should see it anyway. But the death would be the death of the marriage for her. And we will not see that in the first season of the show. That if that happens, it most certainly will. It would happen in a second season. So the death of marriage for her. the character Chris, who is played by a British person, as a recently fired music label executive. So the death for her is the death of her career and the need to start over and become an entrepreneur, like start her own music studio, her own record label, which she would be quite capable of doing. But there's also death pertaining to her in the form of her father is ailing, and she is once again estranged from her father. So now we have
Right.
two estrangements, and her father lives in or outside of London, and she is in New York. This whole thing takes place in New York. And then thirdly is the character Walter that the show begins with, and he is a more aged African American man who is in a long-term marriage that's full of love. His wife is very charitable, and his wife passes on suddenly and shockingly to him. And so he's dealing with like literal death of his spouse, and soon will be dabbling with dating apps. And he's like, this is not for me at all. Forget this. What is this craziness? And he wants to find new meaning in life that also honors his beloved, recently passed on wife. And he also wants to honor her charity that she was involved with, which has religious backing, and he himself is not religious. So he struggles with religion, the death of his own spouse, and meaning. And what is he going to do next or for the rest of his life? And then lastly is Nate. And he's kind of the center of the whole drama, which shockingly, he's a middle-aged white male, but he runs a bar. So it would remind you of numerous restaurateurs in New York, where there's a center of social gathering, and his bar becomes that for all these four characters, where they eventually congregate, not specifically around the bar, although it is a bit like Cheers meets This Is Us, or This Is Us meets Cheers. It's like that. Nate is the bar owner, and he is a privileged, son of wealthy parents who financed the purchase of the bar in the first place, that he personally is not able to financially sustain, given the business. So there's this socioeconomic class thing going on. But he's probably in his late 30s, early 40s, as far as I can tell. He has a young daughter who is disabled, and he's married and now separated from an RN, a nurse. And that's how the whole thing begins. Then he gets cancer, and it doesn't look good. And we don't know by the end of the season how it will turn out, but all kinds of drama takes place surrounding cancer. And so the concept of death there is not, it's not already occurred. It easily could occur. It's an unknown. It's a giant question mark. Should you still pursue love if you have a significant medical condition or ailment? None of us live forever. So there's Walter, who's aged. Should he pursue love after loss of his wife? He doesn't know. He doesn't want to. Should Nate pursue love with under the diagnosis of cancer in the course of separation from a spouse he seems to no longer love, or maybe who never loved him the way he needed? So it's the best of the best of storytelling. As Robert McKee, who wrote the famous writer's book Story, once said, the best stories in the world would involve war and love. And I'm going to adapt that to death and love. War and love are the best stories, the most dramatic stories in the world. And this has all that in these four characters. Now, why is it called Ripple? That's actually capitalizing on, I shouldn't say capitalizing on, it's artistically weaving into the tapestry of the storytelling the concept of serendipity or random chance, pleasant results from random chance in meeting people. And New York City is the first or maybe second best city in the world for that. London might top it, possibly.
Road trip.
New York City road trip. New York City is just the greatest dramatic place to show this kind of concept that you never know who you're going to meet. You walk down the street.
Right.
I met Mr. Big, Chris Noth. I guess he's canceled.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was jogging, in a white T-shirt, and I met M. Night Shyamalan, the director, walking down the street I lived on when I was there. And you never know who you're going to meet. And I met Mickey Rourke, who got very angry at me.
What happened there?
I better stop.
Okay.
No, I said he was great in his quote comeback in Iron Man, the Iron Man movie.
Yeah.
It was years ago, and he was like, "What do you mean comeback? What do you mean comeback?"
Oh yeah, well, he was a wrestler.
I've never left.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but he was great. We made up and things like this. In a nightclub at the door of one where we both knew the bouncer, I met Clive Owen, and he was very kind to me, and he goes, "Whoever this guy is behind me, let him in too." And I'm like, "Thank you." And we had a table together for like an hour until his friends arrived. But
Yeah,
you never know who you're going to meet, and it doesn't have to be
that's
famous
for
people.
sure.
Certainly, it could be the guy that runs the bodega could be the most incredible person. Or I love cabbies. I just love cabbies.
No, you gotta hate Uber.
Where were you born? What languages do you know? And you learn new words in various languages often, and just hear a dramatic life story of a person who's just arrived to New York or who has been there for 20 years.
Sure.
So you never know who you're going to meet in these places. And that's why shows like this can only work in that venue. And movies that many of you know that one of my most favorite movies, even though it was critically horribly panned, was the movie Serendipity about love from 2001 with Kate Beckinsale and John Cusack. I think it's a wonderful film because it uses New York and to some degree San Francisco, but mainly New York, to depict this kind of serendipitous chance encounter possibility when humans meet in person and run across each other in person. You never know what good things can happen, what new connections can happen. And so this Netflix show, Ripple, is at the core about that too. And it's praised for having relatable characters, emotional depth, thoughtful writing, and an uplifting message about connection, which is kind of unusual these days to have an uplifting message. So that's my intro to the series.
Well, there you go. I think that's pretty awesome. So we'll have to rely on the audience to say how my audio is because somebody was saying it was too loud. I don't know. How is it for you?
It's quite loud. I actually turned my volume down because of your volume.
How do I do that? I don't mean it rude. I don't know how do I just press it down on the phone?
I'm not sure you can fix it, but I will in post production. We have really good sound engineering.
Yeah.
So
I think so. Yeah, we do. Well, I would say to the viewer, like press the volume down your phone, no offense. I think I've got it quite far out from me and I've got it rested on my laptop. So I'll move it back over here and maybe speak at a room temperature audio. I thought it was, I saw the first episode and I looked up a summary. So I can see kind of some story beats here. I think what you said about people relating in a big city and being open to interaction is great. I mean, I live near Atlanta, and if people are willing in that city to kind of have interactions that are authentic, and the one thing you have to do is be aware, mindful, right? Which I know mindfulness and awareness are pillars. I mean, that's kind of the same thing. That's um, synonymous. But so mindfulness being an element of being cool, of being present focused and able to quip and have interactions. And so when Nate meets um, the executive who, yeah, Chris, who he goes on to have some romance with. I mean, it's episode 1. You see this. This is just signposted here. You can tell they have a good rapport and a good banter. And if it had been the case that maybe he got her a drink and was like, "Who is this somewhat entitled character?" Because she came across as pretty entitled in their initial interaction. And so if he had not taken that the right way or read into it or had his own playful response, then I think obviously we'd have a very different show. Everybody had to be open to interacting. So any way along there, any path that wasn't taken would have resulted in a different show. I mean, so for gamers of a certain age, you'll know um, video games like Until Dawn. I was gonna say From Dusk Till Dawn because I like that movie. I saw it recently in theaters. The Quentin
The only
Tarantino
reason I
flick.
like that movie is because the vampires play guitar on humans. They play humans as guitars. I don't know if you recall that, but
I do, and I
it's
actually like
really
that film. But
Tarantino-esque.
yeah, I mean, I like that movie because it's about a father who learns to be assertive to protect his children, and he regains his faith. Like the Harvey Keitel character is like a pastor who's out of the game, and then throughout, like he has this arc where he comes back as this protective father character in this crucible of a bar that turns into chaos. I mean, it's great. It's a great movie. If you're susceptible to gore or offensiveness, then don't watch it. But well, I'm the horror guy. But like, no, literally, it's a depiction of healthy, assertive masculinity when your children are in danger. So, like, he responds very well. Anyway, another Clive Owen movie, Children of Men. I saw that movie in theaters with my mother, and we didn't know what we were in for. I will say amazing. It bombed, but then it was critically loved. And years later, here we are where people talk about how great it is. It's like a movie where there's a global um, crisis. There's a global fertility crisis, right? And how about that, right?
Yeah, how about that? It's here.
Well, this
It's
was
real.
20 years ago. This is very ahead of its time. It's about to be 20 years old, actually, because it's almost,
Yeah.
it was 2006 when it came out. And it's, no, maybe it was either 06 or 07. And so it was nearly 20 years ago. And so back then, that wasn't really the topic, probably, except among people who probably would have been laughed out of the room for talking about it. Everything was always overpopulation as the big boogeyman for people who are Gen X. Like, that's all you guys got to hear. And then my generation is like, well, we kind of heard that, but it wasn't real. It was always like save the rainforest. It wasn't really that whole popular. Anyway, I'm going off a tangent, but so that's the other thing we need to do an episode on that. But anyway, not on tangents on Children of Men. But I thought the show, I mean, it has great promise for showing how people can relate together when they allow communication to happen. I mean, I loved when we talked about Black Rabbit. I remember that bears so much revisiting. But with this show, with Ripple, I mean, it's obviously named for the ripple effect of how people interact with each other's intersect with each other's lives, like the outward rippling. Irv Yalom talks about that, by the way. He's got a big thing about how when you help someone, Irv Yalom, the big psychoanalytic groups guy who loved doing group therapy.
Right.
He's like 80 something now, I think, or 90. He's written so many books.
I used to love how his simplified rules of things like what is the perfect number of members of a group in group therapy. It's 12. And I love how there's this overlay into history and myth and even religion. Like there were 12 knights of the round table, and there were 12 apostles of Christ, and 12, 12, 12. And we probably went around in bands of 12 as hunter-gatherers in very, very primitive times. So there's something about the number 12 and the principles of group therapy that Yalom is just amazing for. That's why he's the grandfather of group therapy.
Yeah, well, I think we need to get in groups of 12 and do some hunter-gatherer therapy within the confines of the law. Okay,
Well,
so back to the show.
The topic at hand.
Yeah.
If this show is kind of like This Is Us, which my understanding is one family, it's one single family, various points in time. This Is Us. This is a bunch of strangers in the gigantic family called New York City. And I got to say, I once did a tour where there's you ride on a tour bus all through New York, and the bus faces out to the sidewalk. The seats face out, like you're in a theater, a traveling theater facing out to the sidewalk.
To yell at the pedestrians.
And I forget the name of the tour, but they had planted performers throughout the city.
Oh, Lord.
I know. It sounds kind of cheesy, but
it's a flash mob, y'all.
It was a very touching end message where they covered all these neighborhoods in Chinatown and Koreatown and all the various cultural neighborhoods that you could spend time in New York. And then you arrive back at like Grand Central Station or what have you, wherever it was. This is like 15 years ago. And it concludes with all the performers somehow gathering, and they're out there and they're like bowing like Broadway. And the message is New York is the one city you can live in which you're living in the entire world at the same time. You're living in the entire world.
I'd love to see that show. Were you made to think that they weren't performers at first, like that this was just happening spontaneously?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, so see, that's the thing. That's how showbiz is. They'll tell you something's reality TV and everybody's coached 15 ways to Sunday.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Which is, hey, listen, man, if you need a good fight or you need a good, bickering or something, just come to me and I can do it ad lib. I can ad lib a good fight. Just get me mad enough. I'm just kidding. I can ad lib a good Monday morning therapy session too. You're going to come in here, we're going to get real. Cigna's paying for truth, not for lies, clients. Cigna don't want me to just tell you a bunch of platitudes. You're going to hear your life right now. This is us. This is you right now. Get in the chair and listen to some truth. That's my new therapy style. It's doing pretty well, actually.
Oh, yeah. It's like when you're doing a breakup, it's not you, it's me. No, it is you.
Yeah, it is. It always is the other person. They're always the problem. For me, they're the issues. Just a little humor here, everybody. This is just jokes. I have a comedic job now. I'm moonlighting as a comedian, and so I have to try out the material. And if it bombs, I have to know not to take it with me into Atlanta's prestige theaters. So, that's kind of a joke, kind of, ever so slightly.
That's great. If any of you audience members out there are Chicagoans or have ever lived in Chicago, could you please help me convince Jeremy to do a sabbatical where he goes and lives in Chicago for 6 months and works at the comedic venue Second City, which is the feeder program to Saturday Night Live. And I've done most of their courses when I lived there 15 years. I took Shakespeare even from them. You can take anything from them.
Heck yeah, dude. I love Richard III.
You love Richard III, man.
Yeah, it's a great. Yeah, I call that play the third dick.
You dude.
It's the third dick. Hey, no, I made that up. That's literally, his name's Richard III. What do you want me to do? Not say Dick 3? I don't know what you want from me. No, listen. I know I love Richard III. I love the play, not the character. I will say, play is amazing. Back then they didn't have villains with backstory, like besides Satan. Like you only had like that person's bad because they're bad. That was it. End of story. Case closed. Shakespeare got frisky with it and decided to write a sympathetic villain in that era. That was very unheard of.
I mean, these preferences between you and me, they always go back to you love Batman and I love Spider-Man.
Darkness.
I'm
Darkness.
just I'm
No, I'm
a
kidding.
lightness kind of guy. Spider-Man, science, discovery,
Look,
youthfulness.
well, look, I have to say, I can't really. Here's the thing with it. I don't really. So I don't. A lot of Shakespeare is pretty tragic. I mean, I do like Midsummer Night's Dream, which is a comedy. I do like a lot of comedy. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm kind of like the Doctor House of psychotherapy in a lot of ways.
The comedy is to get you out of your darkness, your Batman darkness.
Well, no, yeah, but I do. I gotta say, I do love comedy. I don't hate fun, nice, sweet stuff. I just thought Richard III was interesting because he was so over the top and funny. Like he's giving a speech and he makes somebody beg him to be king. There's elements to it that are funny. I got this as a Christmas gift. It's Shadow the Hedgehog as Batman. So it's a dark character as a darker character. And literally, I was given this as a gift from family. Like, I just, I don't, I guess I could give you some points.
They know you well. They know you well.
They do. They do, in fact. Yeah.
I think if you had been in medical school with me, you would have been one of the surgeons. You would have become a surgeon.
You know, here's what's interesting. Oh, here you go.
There's
some great stuff right there. No, that's heroic. That's what heroes look like.
Let me tell you why I think you would have become a surgeon. When I first started the rotation in psychiatry in third year of medical school, it was just me. I wasn't sure what I was going to become yet. I thought I might be a surgeon. And there were all these surgeons, future orthopedic surgeon and a trauma surgeon. And guess what they read throughout the training, throughout the rotation in psychiatry?
Stephen King books.
Almost. They read Bret Easton Ellis's American Psycho.
Oh man, that's intense. I've seen that movie. I know the movie's kind of a
to like give the finger to the rotation pretty much because they were like, nah, we're never gonna do this. We're surgeons, you know.
Okay.
So
wow.
Darkness. Yeah, dark humor. Dark.
You know, I never wanted to. I don't. God, that's a whole nother. That would be a good podcast. Is the psychology of Patrick Bateman, which people say he's a psychopath. Look at his anxiety though in the movie. Psychopaths don't experience visceral anxiety the same way as neurotypical people. So I have a bone to pick with the like sloppy psychology. You know, I love the term nosology, meaning like diagnostics. That you don't hear that term a lot, but like a good. Yeah, is that how you pronounce it? Is it nosology?
I mean, I've always pronounced it nosology.
You know, nose, nos, whichever. Yeah, but hardly anyone knows that term. And so I actually love the diagnostic nitty gritty of movies because you see that if somebody had paid like $300 to consult with a psychiatrist, they could have had a totally accurate movie. But like people will confuse right. Yeah.
If it doesn't serve the story.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and then right on cue, literally the best timing known to Earth or this galaxy, my psychology coach, pardon me, joins as I'm talking about good diagnostic theory. Like you can't write this stuff. Talk about living in the Matrix.
That's Michael, whom you've met.
Yeah. Anyway, here's Batman with Shadow the Hedgehog again. So that's, you know, I'm kind of a mad scientist type character in a way, except I don't hurt people in a lab. So it just. I wouldn't be a surgeon because I didn't want to dig around the dead bodies that much. A. B, I didn't want to do a lot with blood and veins, which, I mean, looking back on, I could have probably gotten by not doing it. But, you know, I think surgery's awesome. I wouldn't want to do that. I would way rather be a psychiatrist and then like do transcranial magnetic stimulation, which is like this new era healing methodology. It's very cool.
I did it for a year. I was going to be a surgeon. I did an internship year and I loved it. But I felt like after 4 weeks, the excitement faded and it became just laborious 7 days a week, like 16 hours a day. And one day I woke up at 4:30 in the morning to get ready for work. And
Yeah.
this was the day of MTV, when MTV actually showed music videos. And
Oh, yeah.
the TV is what I used to wake me up. I had to blast it just to wake up because I just got home at like 11 p.m.
Yeah, of course.
7 days a
Yeah.
week. And Danzig is on singing Mother.
Oh, it's
And
a great song. It's pretty dark, though, so you're probably going to tell me that. Oh, my
yeah,
God.
I was going to tell you, it's kind of a Batman style darkness song, man, the kind of thing you would like. And that's playing.
I've seen him live. I mean, I didn't meet him. Yeah, I saw him at a concert. He sang with the Misfits. I got a shirt for it with a big old skull on it. I don't like to wear it around because I'm concerned that sends the wrong message
No way.
about myself. Yeah. Yeah, I'll bring it out for our next podcast. I'll just record it with like the phone on my chest. This is a much nicer band called The Midnight, and they're an 80s synthwave band. You can see the synthwave type pictures there. I love synthwave music. I'm going to get a nice goth woman to join me for some synthwave and some heavy metal, which is a love like goth.
Demon Hunters?
I haven't seen that one, but I've heard it's great. Goth women are a love language. That's a whole love language in itself.
Who sings the song Dragula?
Rob Zombie. I've seen him live twice at least.
Guess who I've seen live? Rob Zombie.
He's one of the best musicians known to man. He is great. His stuff, so Dragula's an amazing song. Living Dead Girl's an amazing song. Super Beast, amazing. All of those things. I grew up listening to that stuff. Like I was listening to that in high school. I would blast that. Man, let me tell you, being a straight A student doesn't have to be boring. Straight A's, heavy metal. That's the way. Punk rock, good grades. Yeah, I'm probably going to skip the Neil Diamond movie. Listen, my mom listened to my mom's like a Southern Belle, and she would listen to Rob Zombie and Nirvana, but then also Christian music. So I'd get like a good, nice upbringing. Like I'm a product of the postmodern world in the good way, like the good outcome of that, where like I'm Christian, but I also have like some of this and some of that, you know. My parents like Neil Diamond, which I think everybody's parents like Neil Diamond. I guess. I mean, I don't really. Sweet Caroline's fine. I'm a white person, so I know that song, and that's fine. Yeah. But it's not like something that's going to make me start howling and like turn into a wolf, pulling out my tongue and my ears clapping like a Looney Tunes cartoon. I don't really care.
So your musical taste is a little bit like you have a Christian beer with a shot of Satan.
Oh man. Man's riffing over here. We got Riffmeister General over here, and I'm the little riffling. I'm the riffer in training, the apprentice, the Anakin to your Qui-Gon, which I do love Liam Neeson. So that's my compliment to you. I love a good Liam Neeson flick.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the whole Rob Zombie thing evolved out of for some reason we used to a number of years ago when I had 20 employees and we ran an international training program in psychology. Before doing an intensive for men or for women, for some reason we started singing the song Dragula.
That's a great song.
To get ourselves pumped up before beginning a seminar. And then at one point, my administrative assistant bought me for Halloween, bought me 2 tickets to Rob Zombie. And that was my first, and this is in Chicago. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow. That's amazing. How did you like the show?
It was amazing. It was a great show. Yeah. I mean, I go to all kinds of old bands. I've even seen The Church 3 times and the band The Cure 3 times, a couple times in Denver. The 90s band, well, it's not dark, but Snow Patrol.
Snow Patrol's amazing. I mean, well, wait, no, I was thinking of something else. They're fine. They're great. Snow Patrol's great. Sorry, I was thinking of the Postal Service.
Oh, the Postal Service. Okay.
Not everything can be, man. Listen, everything can't be Batman. Sometimes we got to have Superman. God, people got pissed when Superman snapped Zod's. Well, I guess I don't know if they do demonetization on Substack. We'll say that Superman gave
They do.
Zod some.
Well, I shouldn't say that.
Superman gave Zod bad chiropractic services in Man of Steel, and his head ended up the other way around. Let's say it that way. Yeah. Did you ever see Man of Steel, the Snyder one? Not a bad movie. People don't like the idea of Superman ending someone, though, which I get, but
Yeah.
come on. It was a good movie. Listen, I could get some hate mail from this. Oh, hey, that's engagement, though. Like, hate comments are engagement, so keep them coming. Within reason, don't hunt me down and find out where I live. But so Superman's fine. Only if he's edgy, though. I don't need any of that, like, 1930s nonsense,
Yeah.
Superheroes, listen, so you don't like dark stuff at all, or you just, like, get tired of it?
I don't know.
Because sometimes if something's too mopey, I'm like, God, I need some caffeine. What?
I don't enjoy it. I don't.
It's painful.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I mean, we have other things to talk about, but this is a great thing to
No, we don't.
disagree on.
This is the best thing to talk about.
Well, I don't like darkness.
Okay.
Because you can just get kind of swept into it, and like anti-hero, dark villainous heroes. It's kind of not my cup of tea.
Yeah, they're the best. Right.
Society has gone the opposite direction of, oh, you're leaving. Okay.
No, I'm leaving. No,
that's cool, man. Just freaking leave the podcast right in the middle, man.
I guess I'm show you. No, I've got something to show you. I wasn't leaving. I'm here.
Like I've never seen the Friday the 13th movies. I've never seen the Scream movies all the way through. I've never seen them. You have what is that, a scorpion?
That's the face hugger from Alien series.
Oh, God, man.
I was trying to write a crime novel with a redemption code in it, like Mind OS, and it totally failed. I had to make the characters fail. Well, hell yeah, Bill. Make them fail. That's awesome, dude. And then make people buy more for the good ending. That's called marketing. Yeah, this is a popcorn bucket, believe it or not, from the Alien series that I got at my local Regal Cinema. I'm a regular there because this is cinema therapy, everyone. It's now become... Thank you. Yeah. Oh, no, listen, let me tell you, I'll start riffing, it's like a cheers, everybody knows your name. I was going to say this is a bad... I don't riff there. I'd like to. I'd like to get a card that's gives me a riffer's license to be like, I'm here now. And I'm going to start talking over this movie. But it's okay. I'm a professional. You don't need to talk over it, other people, because I'm the professional movie talker. If you talk, it won't be funny. But fear not, I'm here to make this movie better by talking over it. I'm not going to do that, but that would be so funny. Oh my God.
Wow. Bill, a commenter says, an attendee here says, marketing, man, there's no way to make it work.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a way to make a lot of stuff work. But I agree with you that everything doesn't need to be some relatable villain that's an anti-hero, because I think that lapses into excuses for bad behavior. Let me say that. I think morally gray hero, Qui-Gon Jinn. So Qui-Gon Jinn is responsible for Darth Vader because he took a chance on Anakin and tried to see the good in him. And he was a gray Jedi. He was outside of the rules, man. But Anakin had so much fear in him that Yoda was like, nope. The question becomes, though, would Anakin have found a path to Vaderhood outside the Jedi Order, considering how powerful his potential was? Possibly. He could have ended up like a crime lord or a powerful evil bounty hunter with some force powers, or creating weapons for the Empire with his, he created C-3PO as a 9-year-old. So the question of relatability and how Qui-Gon Jinn took a risk for something he believed in a positive way, right? He's not an anti-hero. He just was playing fast and loose. Yoda and the Jedi were portrayed as these stodgy good guys, but who weren't that good, which is kind of risky to write because you don't want all your good characters that are squeaky clean to seem like hypocrites, because that just makes people feel kind of emo and bad.
Well, I can hear that. It also makes sense to me why maybe you won't become the biggest fan of the television show Ripple as a
Is there
result.
not enough goth women in it?
Yeah. Well,
What's the
no.
goth women ratio?
The goth women ratio, I would say, is unfortunately only about 1 out of 12.
That's fine. I like the odds. Never tell me the odds, Chewy.
Yeah. I mean, it is a little bit Hallmark. I must say, upon further research, it originated as a Hallmark. Yeah, a Hallmark series, believe it or not.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
This
Because I've said that this has Hallmark vibes. I was watching that first episode. I was riffing.
It does have Hallmark vibes, man, but there's all kinds of news stories about it being probably the most binge watched Netflix drama ever. Like in a row. You have to see all of the episodes.
Oh, okay. No, listen, I want to make this clear on the record here. I think it's
Yeah.
great to have redemptive, positive television. As someone of faith, I think ultimately we need there to be belief in human capacity to do better because I'm a big do better person. I
Yeah.
think that's my so bringing it back around, great segue.
Yeah.
I noticed that like the widower character is, I skipped ahead and read ahead and spoiled it, which doesn't bother me at all. There's so much to watch, man. I can't believe it. So much to watch for us to watch. So I think everybody should see Marty Supreme and the housemaid because they make a good double feature on like masculine and feminine vision. I like Tim Chalamet.
This week. I'll see it. We'll talk about
Gotta tell you, man, it's let me tell you about it. It's a little bit
just to talk
risque.
about Sydney Sweeney.
I knew it.
And yep. And also
Yes.
Seyfried. Yeah.
Amanda Seyfried, we can't forget her. They're both pretty cool. I
It
mean,
was from my hometown.
oh, very cool. But a Marty Supreme is like a breakout hit that people thought would fail. It's a very good story about someone who goes from rags to I don't want to spoil it. Basically a story of masculine. Tim Chalamet
Okay.
and Fran Drescher, some other lady named Odessa something. Odessa is Azion, I think. I don't know if you'll know her because I didn't know her name really.
She's not Ukrainian, is she?
I think she's Jewish.
Oh.
Why? Do you hate Ukrainians now? We're gonna have to edit this? I'm just kidding.
No, I am Ukrainian. I'm part Ukrainian. So
Oh, okay.
no, I don't hate them.
Odessa Zion Segal Adlon, also known as Odessa A Zion. Okay. A apostrophe Zion. Alrighty. Okay, so moving right along. You lost me at Fran Drescher. I can't do her voice. Well, you know what, man? I gotta say, it's not that bad in this movie, and she doesn't have that much screen time. So those two together, you don't have to worry about it. I just mentioned her name because it's somebody you'll know.
What's the plot and theme of this?
The plot. Well, you know what? Actually, you might come after me with a bat after directing you to this movie because basically it's
a video call, man.
We are. You might come after me with a wiffle ball and a wiffle bat and some sock 'em boppers, those old punch 'em up things. The thing is, a young man is trying to get out of his job as a shoe salesman under his uncle into becoming an international ping pong champion, and who creates his own ping pong balls that are orange instead of white so that you can track them easier with your eyes. And so, but he lies, cheats, and steals a lot, and it's kind of following him as he does this. So I don't know if you'll like a character, but it's got a lot of comedy in it. So hey, there's comedy. No, not just dark, but he's kind of a dark character and it's set in the 50s where he's kind of a cad. He's kind of got some cad vibes to him. So, but there's elements though of like being ambitious and seeing opportunity. And so I think there's lots of ways to sanitize that and keep it like say, well, we probably shouldn't lie and manipulate and do the stuff that some of the stuff that he does, it's kind of wild. But other things like finding ways to get in front of the right people to present your product and your opportunity instead of just saying, woe is me and how will I do it? That's great. That's a good thing. So that's a good thing to do. Masculinity looks like initiation. And I would say initiation that's moving toward things besides romance. It's moving toward opportunity, being rejection proof. There's a book called Rejection Proof. I haven't read it, but there you go.
Bill, who writes in the comments, he has a good comment on you, I think,
Okay.
where he says the shadow is good if integrated.
Oh,
well,
yeah. Oh, I think he means the shadow self, not just my shadow figure. I love that.
not just
Good joke.
your alter ego there.
That's very
But
funny.
yeah, no, that's a good point by him.
Batman rocks.
In a Jungian sense, integrating the shadow.
Yeah.
Having the ability to be aggressive when it is required.
Well, and that's what certain people talk about a lot in the psychology world. And I think there's just misunderstandings of it. Like, basically, you have to be able to say no. If you don't integrate your ability to say no, then you're just a doormat. And other people who are happy to ask and take are going to be very happy to continue taking from you. I mean, it goes that way. So anyway, and then the show, like, there's navigating your needs and those of others and learning to grieve. Like, so I like the Walter character. I mean, you can tell early on that he is trying to overcome this complicated baggage with faith and religion. And I will say, as someone who works in the therapy world, and also, I mean, obviously, I'm a therapist, but as someone of faith, church hurt's a big deal, and it's only going to become more of a relevant topic because so many people have been told awful things by pastors who don't have any accountability. Like, if you have a bad therapist, you can take them to the state licensing board. If you have a bad pastor, you can maybe send them to, send a complaint to the Southern Baptist Convention or their priory or their other, or the cardinal if it's Catholic. But for a lot of Protestant denominations, like Church of God denomination, you really don't have a lot of recourse to complain about mistreatment in the church world. So there's not a lot of responsibility there. Like, if someone, I mean, if it gets to the legal part where you sue or you have a lawsuit or police involvement or jail time, God bless. I mean, that's terrible. But so there's little oversight, and I think we need more attention to the fact that abusers don't own faith. You have the right to reclaim your faith after your family or a church person beats it into you.
Simplifying Walter, just like we were saying, all four of these random characters who wouldn't otherwise meet each other and do because of these serendipitous synchronicity kinds of effects that occur in New York City. Walter is not just dealing with the obvious, the death of his spouse, but he is estranged from God. He's estranged from God because his dad was a pastor who was a very kind of brutally in your face, you could say boundary setting, but exacting is what I would call his dad as you go, through the episodes here. But he's estranged from God. Nate is estranged, obviously, from his wife, the nurse, who's kind of narcissistic, and I don't know what her deal is. She's neurotic in lots of ways.
Nate's wife?
Nate's wife is.
Oh, man. And where does her money go, by the way? Split it for me. Why didn't she have any money to pay for that kid's school? Yeah, they're like the check bounce. What the heck was going on with that?
She bought something else, if I recall. She bought something for herself.
That's wonderful.
I think is what occurred.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right? Not very great.
Separations are always good.
So Nate is like this really nice, good guy. And then Chris is estranged from her dad, who is dying.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to spoil what happens there. And then finally, Arya is estranged from her mother.
Yeah.
who demanded she become a pianist, not a singer, and got her into
Right.
Juilliard and all this, but that wasn't good enough,
Right.
for her mom. So you got
You're
all
right.
these
Right. There's a lot of
these
estrangement there.
narcissistic people, and then you have these really good people. But I think what makes it, the reason somebody would say, "Oh, this is kind of Hallmark," and it started out that way, it was paid for by that studio, but now it's on Netflix, probably because it's the holidays. But it's really good drama. It's really well portrayed, and I don't think it's inauthentic or inaccurate in any way. If you've ever had a favorite place to socialize and frequent, and you went back and
Yes.
back again and again, whether it was a gym or classes of some sort or a bar or wherever it was, and you eventually slowly met good people, and there were some bad people too, but they kind of filtered out of your life because you're a good person. And then all that's left
Sure.
is this core group of friends who come from very different backgrounds. I mean, I've had that experience all my life in my friendships, like really diverse people from all over the world. And I won't even go into it, like, how many different cultures I have friendships in. I'll tell you this one real quick one. It had been 30 years since I
Please do.
to please do. All right, then I will.
Yeah.
It-
I want
so,
you
so,
to. Yeah.
so this is a ripple concept, serendipitous concept. I hadn't been back to Paris in 30 years, and my little boy turned 10, and I have said before, wants me to take him to every country of the world before I expire. And I'm not sure if I'm going to make it because there's like over 120 countries, and that's a lot.
All right,
Um,
fine. You'll make it. You can do it.
so we started with Paris, and all these memories came back of girls I used to date who were Parisian. One was a royal. I even saw the hotel that we once stayed at. I was like, "Oh my, can you believe it? It's that same place."
That's
And
popping.
there was a friend of mine from college that I haven't seen since junior year of college
Wow.
that I went on a study abroad program with together for a semester, sailing around the
Yeah.
world, called Semester at Sea. And
Okay.
his name's Andy. And apparently he was so good at French, he simply moved to Paris right after college.
Wow.
And,
Okay.
he was an econ major. So he built a venture capital kind of thing of some sort that works with world governments, national debts, to restructure their debts to get solvent. So he's like a big deal, but he has no social media. I could not find him. I was like, "Hey, it's 30 years later. I'm going to be in Paris with my family. It'd be cool to see this old, really good friend that I simply lost touch with because how are you going to do that over an 8 time zone span and not a language barrier, but just that many time zones?" So we lost touch
Yeah.
for that number of years. Well, I did find his company, and all that I could do is write into the comment box at the bottom, like, "Hello, I like your company." And I read in the comment box, "Looking for this guy, Andy. It's been 30 years. I'm in Paris with my family.
Yeah.
Any chance you're around?" Well, we're there a week. I don't even check my emails again because we're doing the Louvre and we're doing all the museums and all these Eiffel Tower, etc., and eating a
Yeah.
bunch of baguettes that I had to give my son a baguette every night. He had to have a baguette, an entire baguette.
Wow. That's
Grow,
wild times.
growing, But the last
Okay.
night there, I everyone settled down. We're getting ready to leave the next day, and I'm like, I'm going to check email. I have time. I'll check email. And it turns out he wrote back to me like days prior, and he's like, "We are leaving for the Normandy coast on holiday for the weekend, but my wife and I would be glad to meet with you for dinner tonight if you can near the Louvre." I'm like,
Amazing.
yes. And we did it. And we met up, and it was almost like 30 years had not passed. And he has
Isn't that wild how that works?
he has grown children, and it was like no time had passed. And we had this wonderful dinner, getting caught up. And I don't know why I'm telling you that, except that, some friendships,
Ripple effect.
it's a ripple effect, but it's like you would not have met this person if you had not applied for such and such scholarship, or you would have not met this person if your bunk on the ship that sails around the world was on the other side of the ship. And you would have not met this person if you weren't in the same classman level in college.
Agreed. Yeah, exactly.
A particular person. It's such randomness. And then when it
it
gels, and when it's tight, and when it just feeds your soul, even if you haven't seen the person for 30 years.
Yeah.
They're still in your head. The memories that you shared.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
TV series is about that kind of friendship.
It is. Yeah. No, I love that. I appreciate that. I would say, man, you have to, I mean, one of the biggest things, and thinking like a therapist, obviously, which is hard to turn off, the biggest thing I could say is to be open. I mean, on social media, because I am on there, as we know, I see so many posts about dating do's and don'ts, and you know, you're big on romance stuff, which is awesome, and the steps to it, and the steps of courtship, and then seeing, for me, I'm big on seeing how technology and lack of communication really, how many different ways there are, because for that to go wrong, because bad families are bad in their own ways. I think that's from Anna Karenina. I think there's a quote about that.
Oh, right. Yes.
So there's all different kind of ways that you can go wrong with something. And I think, all happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy its own way, from Leo Tolstoy. Yes. So basically, if you want to have a friend, you have to be a friend. If you want to find love, you have to give love. And that goes for women and men. It isn't one or the other. You can have a knight, but the maiden has to be open to being found and rescued, right? No matter how trad and traditional you want to get in your view of relationships. And I've worked with people who are traditional, I've worked with people who are very, very, very modern. And no matter what, there has to be the willingness to meet and to be in a new environment. If nothing new is happening where you are, you have to find something new. I mean, tomorrow I'm going to meet with some fellow private practice therapists that we all kind of encountered each other and have talked. And I don't work in the same office with them at all. We found each other because we went to the same, master's program, but years apart. And so, because there's a way to do that, to find each other now with that. It's like a Christian counseling collective that's out there online now. So, I mean, if you don't have motion and you work in a career where you kind of have to do that, because you and I met career wise, but I'm in private practice now. And so you have to get creative sometimes. So the whole reason I'm monologuing on it is there's a lot of lost potential that people experience when, they're not. Watch the show Ripple and watch and imagine if at certain moments a character had either had a phone in their hand, or they had looked away, or they had thought, this isn't worth my time. And now recognize, okay, well, that didn't happen. Look what occurred on the show. Look at the way that people built step by step trust. Like, again, playful banter and sarcasm, loving playful banter. So much different than communication breakdown of, I didn't tell you I lost the money or didn't spend it because I knew you'd be mad. That's not a reason not to tell someone that you don't have the money that you agreed that you would spend on something, by the way. So it's just, you can see, and that's like episode 1, right? Like Nate and his wife have horrible communication. It's really bad to watch. Like, it makes me not want to watch them when they're talking, because they're arguing and the girl's hearing impaired, and the wife's like, she can read your lips. Okay, well, all right. I mean, fine. Let's protect the kid from that stuff. But very painful deterioration and breakdown.
Yeah.
And so it's very different when you contrast that, as the writers did, with Nate and Chris, who have a playful, no expectation except positive intent communication. Like, it's very hard to pull off playful sarcasm. The way you have to do it is you just kind of, it's like improv. It's like riffing. You have to just have a playful, sarcastic reply. But if either person gets offended, you're done. So I actually think episode 1's very rich with communication masterclass. Yeah, of course.
Which is obviously easy to do in novelty, with a new person.
Yeah.
Any new person, you could be bold and courageous with your authenticity with that person and not feel little threads of narcissistic manipulation or control by the person that you've been with for a very long time.
Sure. There's no transference is what you're saying. There's not that. Yeah, I get that.
Transference. Good point. Yes, that's a great way to summarize that.
To put, just to close your good point about it. I mean, and that's where people who get addicted to the chase have a really hard time, is they just have to be able to identify, like, what's happening is when something gets colored by any negativity, it's on to the next person. Well, there's never going to be any relationship where you can avoid tough talks. I'm sorry.
Even if it's conceived in the first place as the kind of person that would be a well-gelled match for them.
Oh, I like that. I really agree with that.
Where the male is just going for the youth and the looks and the body.
Sure.
And enough intelligence. Yeah. And the woman is going for security, success, and looks would be nice. It's kind of in, and then that's the only thing they're looking for in the first place, but nobody's thinking ahead, because then we get into the arena of, quote, matchmakers, which there is no technology for, except what I developed.
No, dating apps are notoriously bad. I mean, women come out and say, like, we don't know who is going to be a long-term pick. All we have to go off of is the pictures. And then men who don't have good photographers or photography skills are up the creek. I mean, so that's that deal. It's a good point. I mean, I have nothing positive to say about a lot of the stuff that's out there now regarding dating, like the technologies for it. It's basically, there's kind of they're actually not in the Gen X and above world, but in the millennial and below world, especially in Gen Z, you see things like, consent to approach. So basically, which is a tricky one. You and I should actually do our own episode on that, because, again, if you go on X.com, which, if you value your sanity, you should do some kind of cleansing ritual before and after. Yeah, but if you go on X, formerly Twitter,
I don't go on there a lot for that reason. But
well, and you know what? That's valid. But a lot of what we're going to be seeing in our practices, depending on what happens, like what takes off and what doesn't, is stuff that generates and comes out of social media. Like with TikTok, TikTok DID, like people were saying, oh, I have different parts of myself, that means I have DID. No, it doesn't, unless you lose consciousness and it's an alter, and it's meaning an altered state of consciousness. People are like, oh, well, no, I like to sometimes do this, do that. No, that's just called up different parts, like ego states. Like, you're not, so people thinking because they're creative or they can imagine things or imagine themselves differently, like, oh, I have DID. No, you don't. So, on Twitter, like seeing someone write about, like the shades of harassment, and one of them is like, didn't give permission to approach. Well, and I need to find the picture. I think I need to be very careful here, because getting catcalled is not appropriate. I think that's frightening. So we're not talking about that. But I think the ability to talk to a stranger, like you should be able to say something in public. Let's do it.
There's all kinds of neologistic terminologies that some blogger in their mom's basement invented in the last 3 years. I'm tired of the neologisms out there.
Well, I think a lot of the bloggers, though, are not in their mom's basement. They're in New York apartments paid for by their mom and dad. I think a lot of them are attractive people who are wanting to find new ways to try to grasp onto the ecosystem and say, give us what we want and let's sift through everybody else. Like, and I'm not trying to push back in a rude way, but it's not like men. When I hear you saying that, it sounds like it's like men who I don't know. I think because I agree with what you're saying. I think it's not when it's a neologism. I don't want to be the alarmist Chicken Little character profiting off fear. I also think when you look at if you look at the stuff that gets put in Vogue magazine,
more than adequate. I think
sure,
many honored, tried and true terms from real scientists from the past still work. For example, acknowledgement. I acknowledge your opinion. You have an opinion. I have an opinion. I'm acknowledging it. You have one. I'm willing to hear yours. I could tell you mine too. Maybe we could reach some kind of synthesis. There's this neologism, validation. Never
yeah,
heard it before. I'm kind of an old timer. I never heard
okay,
the word validation before 5 years ago. Never ever
but
heard it. No,
that's
never
fine.
heard it in a therapeutic context, textbook, group discussion, academic treatise. Never heard it before 5 years ago. Why? Because we use the word acknowledgement. That's been around forever and is very clear in its meaning. I acknowledge you. I acknowledge your thoughts. I acknowledge you have opinions, but your opinions aren't facts, and my opinions aren't facts. Validation
Right.
means facts have been established. You have a valid driver's license. That's a fact. You have a therapist's license. That's a fact. It's valid. Valid means fact. No belief has ever been a fact. No opinion has ever been a fact.
Mm.
That's an example of a problem I have with the neologism. One of numerous that were created. The very
Yeah. Well, I get
very
what you're saying.
adolescent
I
kind
don't
of
think
spirit created some of these things, like a teenager made them up, or somebody with a teen
well,
mind.
that's a good topic. I mean that gets into mentalization. Like I felt, I feel upset. So that means you are upset at me. Like
It
I
means
feel
the
little.
cause of my upset. It's a
Well,
boundaryless person. It's an adolescent at best.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Anyway,
you only have to look at who's allowed to do that and why. And the bottom line, and I've said this to clients, a lot of people come to me to be their tastemaker in the office and to be the arbiter. Well, and validate. There's the V word. V for vendetta, V for validation. Ooh, yes, that would be its own good book
but
or
are
blog
you
post.
all right? So, do you validate their? It gets into these things like live truth, my live truth.
Yeah. Well,
Notice that terminology. And I am apolitical. I want nothing to
sure.
do with politics at all whatsoever. I'm like 50 percentile right median moderate person. But when you hear terms like cobbled together terms like, I don't know when it arose, but my lived truth, you're appending truth to your opinion. Your
Sure.
opinion is not truth. It's not
So I would
absolute
say,
truth.
sure. I mean, here's what I would.
It's not fact. It's opinion. I acknowledge it. We should acknowledge each other as having opinions.
Yeah.
But
Well, look.
opinions can't be fact.
Okay. Right. I mean, well, look, here's the deal, and I don't really. What I was getting at is I have people who come to therapy and they want answers and they want reasons, and so an unethical person would take that and do with it what they will. But an ethical therapist is going to direct the client to their own value, to the client's own value system, and say, look, I can
Okay.
tell, like, because when when the family, because here's a fun thing, when the whole family cutoff special from Oprah dropped, and obviously the person that you interviewed did that.
Josh Coleman.
The client came to me and she's like, "Oh, is this? What do you think about this? What do you think about family cutoffs and cutting off mothers and doing this and doing that?" And
Really? Wow.
yeah, yeah, very cool.
Okay.
So, but basically, here's the issue. So in our world, we have to teach people and reinforce, basically train them how to treat us. So there isn't really like, so the whole validation topic and the whole topic of truth or not truth, or someone treating me fairly or unfairly. At the end of the day, the cold hard truth about it is the person who accepts the treatment and is more permissive and afraid of losing that other person is the one who bends the most. Like, I'm sorry, you can't make someone do what they don't want to do. Like, but all
What
these
does
new.
that have to do with validation?
So when people come to get validated, I'll explain it. So if somebody says, "Well, I want to get validated, Jeremy, that it was wrong that my husband, threatened to turn off my credit card if I questioned where he was going past 6 p.m. when he wasn't home," I could say, "Yeah, I validate that. That's terrible. That's not good. That's not fair. If that's not the prearranged setting for your relationship, is for your husband to financially threaten you, right? So I can validate that all day, but it doesn't change anything. Like the power structure there, like what I'm saying is validation only says your emotions are real to you. It doesn't really do anything because people come to therapy for that. And like, okay, well, so change it, Jeremy. Like, it's wrong. How can I make my husband change? Well, that's step two. That's not part of
Well, I
validation.
would call that an a priori truth that obviously somebody having emotions has emotions. I mean, that's almost like
Well,
an identity equation. It's obvious. It's
sure.
a priori. It's unnecessary to make a statement about it. If you're just being a good therapist, then you just listen.
Well, true, but I get that. But when you look at mentalization based psychotherapy and a lot of the research that Fonagy and Bateman did, what really is the core here is people who had a mother or a father or a caregiver who would misidentify or mystify the client. And if the client says, "Oh, I'm really angry," they'll be like, "Nope, you're hungry," or "No, you're not. You're not angry."
Ah,
So, like, validation is this kind of bastardized. Well, right, yeah.
okay.
So basically, validation is kind of itself a very watered down version of mentalization, of being able to say, "Hey, it looks like you're upset, and I'm aware of that. Like, is that what you're feeling?" So, no, you're right. It is basic stuff, but I agree with you. I'm just saying, like, to double down, validation or recognizing that someone's emotions matter doesn't mean that the situation is going to change. And I think now
Yeah.
therapy is expected to be this emotion moral police where your therapist can almost arbitrate or mediate. Like, no, you're in this situation. You have to be the one to figure out how to change it with the therapist's counsel, sure, but not
You.
some. Yeah.
I would argue almost agitate against the word. I think it's a very bad word.
Which one? Validate?
Validate. Yeah.
Well,
And
yeah,
I'll tell you exactly why. I think it leads us
Natalie and I talked about that.
I think it leads us down a path of infantilization of the public.
Okay.
I really do. I think it's the premier prime word when people are talking about therapy language, inculcating
Yes.
other language, and like just
Yes.
we're swimming in it everywhere all the time. Um, I think it is the number one word that causes problems because it is so Trojan horse, falsely presenting something that sounds like it should be good, where you're treating someone well, but you are infantilizing them if you justify it, because it literally means what they want to believe is true for all the world, for all people. That's infantile. That's what the word really, really means. If you want an accurate word for something similar, you would say the old word we've always used called acknowledge. I acknowledge you.
Yeah.
You have an opinion. Your opinion has grown from your personal experience. Your personal narrative matters. Now, if I'm your therapist, I
Sure.
want to acknowledge your narrative and speak its language and help you heal within
Yeah.
your narrative. I want that for you. But if we use the word validate, and I understand your positive use of it is to provide mentalization to another person, but that's your job as a therapist. Now, if you are a boyfriend or husband or girlfriend or wife or child to a person, do you owe them being their therapist? Constantly, 24 hours a day? Do you owe them therapy? Validating them? No. That is not your role.
Well,
You don't marry
yeah, this
somebody
is
to be your
spicy. I like
therapist.
this.
I don't like
Okay.
this word for that reason. It's either A, if it's a good person using it, saying, please validate me, and they're a morally upright person. And by the way, this will take us back to the Ripple series, and we can finish off with this. Here's how, and I'll show you how.
Ripple heads rise up.
We'll see if that takes. But if you have somebody who is a good, morally upright person asking you to validate them, they're not in the wrong to ask. But you need to have a boundary if you're not their therapist. If you're their boyfriend, husband, girlfriend, wife, child, grandfather, grandmother, you're not their therapist. You do not owe them mentalization therapy. You have some other kind of role with them. That's a good person.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
If they are a very, very narcissistic person,
Sure.
which is kind of on the rise in society.
Oh, yes, it's been on the rise. You got that right.
And they latch on to that word.
Yep.
Then I challenge you in any context, any relational scenario you're in with them, to ask them to define the word validation. They can't. They can't do it, because what it really means to them, and I'm talking about this second kind of person, what it means to them is you must affirm my truth as universal truth, including for you, and actually believe it, not just pretend to agree with me. You need to believe it and be on call to act on it. That's sick. That's manipulation.
Sure.
That's it's baked into the word.
Yeah.
Manipulating someone else is baked into the word, in my view.
What word?
Validation.
Oh, okay. So look,
validation
I think
means like a driver's license. It is true and factual.
You're stamping it. Yeah.
But we're talking about opinions here.
Sure.
These are never facts. Opinions will never be facts.
I agree with you, but I'm cynical. I think whoever wears the pants and has the power gets to say whatever the other person does. That's the world of dating that people are living.
That's called gaslighting. Then the word
I agree.
The word validation is gaslighting. In fact, it might be trickery. It's a shell game of gaslighting.
This would do a lot of numbers on TikTok if you take this clip and you toss it out there about your hatred of validation. I'm just saying. I would say,
okay,
look, not in a good way. I'm saying it would get you
hatred. I would say I'm ardently against this falsity of a word being used. Flagrantly for manipulative purposes. That's its only purpose. There is another word, acknowledgement. It already exists.
It does. Look, people can't even say regular words now. It's unbelievable. It's like they can't say, acknowledge. That's fine. I mean, we have a lot of words that, like, people keep calling trauma bonding when two people have a conversation about trauma, and it's not. A trauma bond is between an abuser and a victim, almost like Stockholm syndrome. But people don't even get that. They've brutalized that term to hell and back.
They think it's water cooler talk.
Yeah, war stories.
People sharing war stories. So let's get back to Ripple, and the way I want to do it is
Ripple.
Two notable restacked quotes that I noticed in the past week. One was from, and I'm going to try to remember them now. One was from Natalie Martinek. The other, Dr. Natalie Martinek. The other was shout out. Shout out. The other was from Dr. Rob Henderson. And the one from Natalie if I remember it right, was oh, almost lost it. It was about covert narcissism, and it was about how I guess it was about projection, um, projecting out your own narcissism onto others, and then you call them narcissists.
Okay.
The full quote will come to me soon. It was also about oh, I know what it was. She was restacking some maybe more distantly related writer that she liked this quote from, and the quote was about how decades ago, maybe many decades ago, the most admirable people were the most upstanding, beneficent, good people. They were who were admired. The most
Sure.
upstanding, you could say moral, but that gets us more into religion and that can go sideways. But the most respectable people were the most beneficent, good people. They were respected. But somewhere between decades ago and now, probably
Yeah.
under the force of advertising and
Yeah.
now today's social media, your big topic, what
It
became
is my big topic.
what became most respectable and desired and admired was no longer I would say no longer character, but personality and charisma. Charisma
Yeah.
within a personality, like being a good salesperson.
Sure.
And now that's what people pursue and seek to emulate, which is not character. It's just being a performer.
Sure.
Now, I thought that was remarkable by Dr. Martinek to highlight that
yeah.
quote, because when I love and admire like a movie or TV series, some of which are panned, but I like them anyway, it tends to depict a highly upstanding person who does go through dramatic situations and surmounts them out of their goodness and courage. And I just love those stories. Whereas a lot of people who are, I don't know if it's more of a Batman thing versus Spider-Man thing, but people who like, and I'm not saying you're like this, I don't think you are at all, but some
Let's get
people,
into it. Let's fight.
all right, some people who would call a Hallmark special
Me.
that others like and they don't, might be that the Hallmark special is still highlighting the moral goodness of somebody as what is
Yeah.
heroic instead of the most charismatic and personality filled character who could be an anti-hero. So that was Natalie. Rob
Yeah.
Henderson, let's join these two
Okay.
names together. Rob Henderson, I thought it was fascinating. I don't know if he was talking to Will Storr or to that British blogger female. What's her name? Kelly.
Oh, wait. Are you talking about Mother Maiden Matriarch?
Yeah. What's her
Uh,
British lady?
Louise. Hold on, man. I don't want to get the name wrong. Oh yeah, Louise Perry, right?
Yeah,
Is that
Louise
it?
Perry. It might have been
Yeah.
Rob Henderson talking to Louise Perry, or it might have been Will Storr, or it might have been somebody else
Yeah.
entirely.
Okay.
But the quote he highlighted really stuck in my mind as explanatory of something I've always wondered about, which is the quote
Okay.
was, "The famous pursue fame," or maybe it was Daniel Kahneman or David Buss. I don't even know.
Like him too. All right. All right.
The famous
You're cooking.
pursue. The reason the famous pursue fame is not just the adoration, the narcissistic gratification. It is
Okay.
to acquire enough probability of random, happy, pleasant circumstances happening interpersonally that wouldn't otherwise happen. That's New York City. The more famous you are, the more serendipity can occur for you. because people
Right.
gravitate toward you. Multiple groups of people of all types gravitate
Yeah.
toward you. So there's
Right.
more likelihood.
Okay. So you're talking about there's more likelihood to have, like, you become the planet and everyone seeks to land on you and enter your orbit versus you have to be the rocket ship approaching all the different planets and burning your fuel.
Yeah.
Like, you get to be the opportunity and you get all comers to you, like the popular, the cheerleader or the football player getting asked on the prom dates.
Yes.
Okay, right. And that's what the consequence of a society, of a culture of charisma.
That's the reason that humans pursue fame and renown.
Right. It's for opportunity, right? Further opportunity.
Is to up the probability of serendipitous opportunity.
Right. I love that. I mean, you basically look, people are being down
Listen, my
trained on that.
talent agent in Los Angeles many years ago, my talent agent, we were eating at Katana, which was owned by Ryan Seacrest, I guess, at the time. And she used a word I heard for the first time. She called it propinquity.
Yeah, I've heard that word. Okay.
Right?
Propinquity.
So
Got it.
propinquity is the purpose of fame. It is proximity, but opportunity as well,
Absolutely.
simultaneously, caused by
Yeah.
serendipitous, improbable things to happen due to sheer numbers and
Yeah.
energy level and people approaching you instead of you pursuing them. Propinquity.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
fascinating to hear that. I mean, you think about it, we should do a podcast on that very concept and that word because, like, men, the most naive men think that approach and their efforts and sweat and tears and hard, long work is always the best way to go. The most cynical men try to expedite through propinquity and laziness everything. And the smart men know that to build up competency, you need some level of busy work. You need repetition. You need stuff that you find annoying. I needed to be pushed to the limits of my patience, and not as the word for patience like clients, patience as in the virtue. I needed to be pushed to the end of that early and not have an answer for my clients and learn EMDR therapy and learn how to get better at it and learn how to get faster at it. And that requires a certain level of grinding and grit. And beyond that, though, like, if I want to be known for that and I really want to get my message out there, there's channels that I need to pursue to do that, right? And it's not always going to be going up to individual people or individual client work. I need to get my name out there. And so there's a balance of being the pursuer and being the pursuer.
Well, I don't know if you've suddenly taken up being a mime, but you appear to be like a French mime with the makeup and everything, like just holding one position at the moment. But back to Ripple. Oh, might have lost you. But back to Ripple and this word propinquity. I'm going to actually read the definition. It's nearness or closeness in several contexts, not just one, including physical space, just like the characters find themselves in this show, time, the right timing, and then relationships. Physical nearness, kinship, nearness in time, and also affinity, psychological connection. So all these are necessary for what social psychologists call the propinquity effect, that people are more likely to form friendships or romance with those they encounter frequently due to physical and functional nearness. Okay? So I think this TV series is about that. It's about propinquity, serendipity, synchronicity. And you may feel if you pursue heroes who are noble and good, not just charismatic, you'll like it for that reason. And in all four improbable characters coming together that you will see, you'll see a bit of yourself in each one of them. In the old man, the young woman, the middle-aged man, and the middle-aged woman, you'll see a bit of yourself in all of their struggles and travails in Ripple. So thank you guys for joining us. All you guys. Wow. All right. So I look forward to seeing you again. I'm going to be talking to somebody, well, in not too long, about an hour, who wrote a new book for males about initiation. And this person is in Slovenia, so it's quite a time zone difference. That's why I'm going to be up so late. Good talking to you guys, and I hope to see you all on the weekly video interactive seminars as well as the courses at courses.romanticdynamics.com and all the Substacks that we have. Thank you.